Hello, Eagle fans. Jonathan Duran coming to you from the NCCU Sports Network studios for a special midweek edition of the Eagles Kickoff Show. North Carolina Central back at home and back off the bye week. They're here to face Morgan State, Eagles' first MEAC game of the year, and this game will be on ESPN2. It was originally scheduled for the U. Now it's been moved to the Deuce. We got Tiffany Green and Jay Walker. They'll be bringing the noise on the broadcast on this primetime game. North Carolina Central facing Morgan State as the Eagles are back and rested. Morgan State are going to be out for revenge. They went down 17-0 in their last game against Norfolk State, surged back to take a 21-17 lead with just under 2 minutes to go. Spartans had the final word. They won that game on their homecoming at Dick Price Stadium, and the Bears will be coming back looking to get into the win column to get their first MEAC win the same way as North Carolina Central. The Eagles, one of the top rushing teams in the league with Mookie Collier and with Davius Richard in the backfield, but Morgan State, they're tough as well. They've got one of the top rushers in the league, and Alfonso Graham. He ran for 203 yards on 23 carries and one score against the Spartans last week, and the Eagles will have their hands full. Let's go ahead and get into it. As a note, all of these interviews were recorded during the bye week, so they do not reflect Morgan State's last game against Norfolk State. But without any further ado, here's head coach Trei Oliver. Coach, North Carolina Central now finished with the first non-conference part of the schedule. They have Tennessee Tech still at the end of the year. You finish up non-conference play 4-1, first setback of the year against Campbell. Coach, what'd you see during that contest?
Well, I thought we got out to a sluggish start. We didn't, in the past, we wanted guys to other teams have to match our intensity and our effort. And I didn't think we did that Saturday. Couple of turnovers and didn't stop the run early in the game. And that really bothered us and affected the outcome. But I did think the guys played 4 quarters of football, and we'll work to get better next week.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned them playing for 4 quarters. I mean, they still got about 400 yards of total offense. This is where the Eagles have been averaging for the first few games. So, Coach, you look back at the game. What are some of the things that you think this team has learned, and how are they able to implement that and now getting ready for conference play?
I think we had a tough test early in the schedule. We played some really good teams. I think that they see obviously that we're good enough to compete with anybody. And also, the Eagles can't beat Eagles. And I think we beat ourselves this past weekend. But, we had to take care of the football. We had to stop the run and win the kicking game. The formula has not changed. So I'm excited where we are, and we still have ways to go. But, again, we just want to continue to improve week in and week out.
The bye week always falls in different parts of the schedule. This year, it falls in between non-conference and conference. How important is it to be able to have that week of rest?
Well, rest is huge. We got to get some guys back, and we'll take a couple of days off and let the players get away for a couple of days and just be regular students, and then they'll come back recharged. But I think in this off week, we're gonna spend 3 days of working on technique and fundamentals. We're gonna go back to day one and just go back to the basics: tackling, blocking, catching the ball. So we have to continue to focus on the little things, and then the big things will come.
Jonathan Duran with the Eagles football head coach Trei Oliver. Coach, North Carolina Central now getting ready for conference play. Morgan State, they had a big win against Sacred Heart earlier in the year. Coach, in your opinion, what does it take to be a conference winning team within the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference?
Win this next game. That's all we're concerned about. If we can win this next one and improve, that's what I can't stress that enough. Championship teams don't become champions or prepare for that the week of the championship. You have to walk like it, you have to talk like it, you have to act like it. So, like a champion. So, we have to work to improve every day, and we can't get ahead of ourselves. So I think that's the biggest thing.
All right, Coach, let's talk about these Bears. I mean, what have you seen from them so far this year?
Another big physical offensive line. And they do a great job of knocking people off the ball. They have some skilled receivers out there in the perimeter. A couple of those guys can really run. Really impressed with the Jones kid, Avery Jones. I think he's a player. And their running backs, they got two really, really good running backs. So, again, stop the run defensively. They are very physical. And I think Coach Wilson's done a great job of coming in such a short time and changing his football team around. But they play with a lot of effort and are very physical defensive.
All right, Coach, with the Eagles playing Thursday night against Morgan State, something that's been happening for a good bit now within the Mid-East Athletic Conference and the SWAC as well. And ESPN will pick a conference game. We'll move it to Thursday night, and the Eagles, that's us this week. Coach, how big is it to be able to showcase the program? And we talked about this briefly during the Duke's Mayo Classic with the game down in Charlotte, but this is an opportunity for North Carolina Central to put on a showcase of the program at home. How huge is that?
It's huge. And, anytime we have an opportunity to play in front of our home fans, I mean, that's something. Because when that nest gets jumping, man, there's nothing like it. But some of our players who parents or family members can't make it to the games, they'll get an opportunity to be able to see the guys on ESPN. Obviously, our recruits that are not in driving distance will have an opportunity to come, to be able to watch on TV as well. And then just, to show the country our brand, our university, as well type football we play. But I am excited about Thursday night, and I think our guys are going to put on the show.
All right, Coach. Once we get to showtime, what are the overall keys for North Carolina Central to be successful?
We must start fast, and I thought we'd done a good job of that throughout the season. And really, this is the first game that we have been behind all season. But we must start fast. We must be physical on both sides of the football, and we have to win the kicking game.
All right, Coach. Looking forward to seeing you and this team out on the field in prime time. Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
That's head coach Trei Oliver. And now let's go ahead and get to our keys to the game. As we talked about, the rushing attack is going to be on display between these two teams on Thursday night. And let's start on the defensive side. Let's hear from defensive coordinator Courtney Coard as he talks about this stout Morgan State offense. Coach, North Carolina Central coming off of his first setback this year, lost at Campbell. Coach, you look back at that game. What was it for North Carolina Central, and where do you think they can improve on as we get ready for the bye week?
Well, that was a good old-fashioned butt whooping right there. We didn't play our brand of football from start to finish, even though I thought we played a lot better in the second half. But we came out flat. All year long, we've been demanding opponents match our intensity and match our energy, and it was the complete opposite on Saturday. They came out, set the tone, and we did not respond very well. And that was the biggest difference. They were the aggressors, and I just thought that we got behind early. One good thing, one bright spot coming out of the loss was the guys played for 4 quarters, and that's one of the mottos going into every game. If something good happened, keep playing. If something bad happened, keep playing for 60 minutes or however long it take. And I thought the guys did a really good job of playing until the clock hit 0.
Coach, this Campbell offense, I mean, it's been a very long time since I've seen anybody move as fast as they did. I mean, it wasn't even a hard count. They just lined up and went. What are some of the challenges in going up against an offense that moves that fast?
Well, it wasn't what they were doing. Like I said, everything we did, it cost us the game. Guys not getting the call, not looking to the sideline, just simple stuff. Things that we stress on a daily in practice is like we went out there and just completely lost it. So I wasn't sure what was going on, but we got to come out and have a great week of preparation this week and next week leading into the Morgan State game.
All right, Coach, we wrap up the first non-conference part of the season. Still one more non-conference game left with Tennessee Tech at the end of the season. But you look back over the first 5 games. What have you learned about this team? And where's the next step for them as they get ready for conference play?
Well, we have a gritty football team. We have a tough football team, and we have a team that's going to fight to the end, whether we're up or whether we're down. And that's what I've learned about our football team the first 5 weeks of the season. And there's a lot of room for improvement. And us as coaches, we have to get better. And the players, we had that conversation with them yesterday, they have to get better. So we're in this together. We all have to be better from top to bottom. and moving forward the next week, we're looking forward to just preparing like champions. That's one of the things that we consistently preach. A true sign of a champion is one who can repeat their performance day in, day out, week in, week out. And this week we're going to come out prepared like champions.
Jonathan Duran with the Eagles defensive coordinator Courtney Coard. North Carolina Central now getting ready to start conference play against Morgan State. The Bears had a big non-conference win of their own earlier this year with a win over Sacred Heart. What have you seen from the Bears while you've been getting ready for this game?
Typical Morgan State football team, man. I've coached against these guys a number of years. They're a gritty football team. They're going to try and run the ball. They get after it up front. Running back is really good. They're big. They can move a little bit. So we got our work cut out for us again. Just like it is going in every game, we got to stop the run, and we can't beat ourselves. And I thought that's something that we did this past week. We kind of beat ourselves. We're just not doing little things, and so we definitely gonna make sure we plug every gap and make sure we have edges set to the defense and make sure we contain their rushing attack and make sure the quarterback don't get out of the pocket and scramble and hurt us and extend plays and extend drives. And we can't get beat deep. Like I said before, I think early in the week, the best pass defense is a pass rush. We had that conversation early in the season, and we're not doing a good job of creating pressure on the quarterback. So I have to be better as a coach, and the players have to be better executing the game plan.
All right, Coach. This is the second time that North Carolina Central is going to play in more or less a showcase game. That first game in the Dukes Mayo Classic, neutral site ESPN game, and now Thursday night. How exciting is it to be able to put this team out and put this product out on the primetime stage?
Well, that's big. Anytime HBCUs can get exposure on ESPN, that's huge. That's real big for the program. That's real big for our community. We just need the fans to come out and support, because typically those Thursday night games, the attendance is really low. So I'm just encouraging all the fans to come out support. We definitely gonna need it. Come bring your friends, family, and cheer loud. But that's really huge for our guys to have an opportunity to play on ESPN under the lights, back in the nest. So we're excited.
All right, Coach, what are the overall defensive keys for North Carolina Central to be successful?
Just like it is every week, we got to stop the run, and we got to make sure we're sound. We got to be disciplined, and we got to minimize the big plays. We had non-explosive runs last week, so we definitely going to cut that down a lot, tremendously. Just make teams nickel and dime us down the field, bend but don't break mentality. So definitely going to stop the run this week.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
That's defensive coordinator Courtney Coard. Now let's go to the offensive side. North Carolina Central, in their last game against Campbell, they suffered their first loss of the year. They still put up close to 400 yards of total offense, but it just really wasn't quite the same that the Eagles have come to expect after winning their first 4 games of the season. So here's offensive coordinator Matt Leone as he talks about this Eagle offense, what they've learned, and what's next for them as they take on Morgan State. Coach, North Carolina Central in the bye week now, but coming off its first setback of the year. Coach, still got the offensive numbers of 400 yards that the Eagles are used to, but just a little bit more difficult in that last game.
Yeah, Campbell was a good football team. They were coming off a bye week themselves, and they had a good game plan for us. And then turning the ball over, that put us behind. And so we got to do a better job of taking care of the football and making sure we're doing the little things to do so.
All right, Coach, that being the last game in the non-conference part of the season, still one more non-conference game to play with Tennessee Tech at the end of the year. But what are some of the things that you learned from this game, and what are you looking to shore up as the Eagles get ready to get into conference play?
We've got a good young group of guys that play extremely hard. They've done a good job for the most part of playing discipline, assignment sound football, and they're a resilient group. We really faced our first bit of adversity this last game that we've had thus far this season, and to see our guys continue to play all the way throughout the game and finish strong this last game, even though it was not in our favor, just showed the resilience that this group has. And then they're enjoying playing the game. They prepare the right way. They work extremely hard throughout the week of practice, and then you get to see the results of that on Saturday. So it's been a pleasure coaching these young men, and we got a great staff that really gels well together. So we're going to continue to work hard and make sure that we're putting ourselves in position to be on the correct side of these games.
And Coach, well, the Eagles finishing up what was a little bit of a busy non-conference schedule. The Dukes Mayo Classic came up in New Hampshire, and then down the road with the tough Campbell University team. Coach, what are the benefits, in your opinion, of being able to go into the bye week right before conference play?
I think it is a benefit in the fact that you get healthy. Some guys after playing 5 games, you're going to have some aches and pains. That's part of football. So it's nice to have that time to recover, as well as get back to the basics. When you're in the constant grind of a season, sometimes some of those things could get lost because you're always what's next and game planning. And so it's nice to have a week where we can settle back down, get to the basics, and remember what's put us in position to have success. And so that's what the bye week's all about. Get back to the basics of who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, and make sure we're taking care of the little things.
Jonathan Duran with Eagles offensive coordinator Matt Leone. North Carolina Central now getting ready to take on Morgan State at home Thursday night primetime on ESPNU. Coach, the Bears with a statement win of their own against Sacred Heart earlier this year. What have you seen from Morgan State?
They're a much improved football team than what we've seen last year. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and that's evident in when you put the film on. Defensively, they've got some good players up front. To us, that's always where it starts. You got to win in the trenches, and they got some defensive ends and some interior guys that are good players that are playing well for them. They got a interior linebacker, inside linebacker that makes a lot of plays for them. Leading tackler on their team, number 54, and he's a good football player for them. And then they've been active in the back end. So, they, like I said, they're playing with a lot of confidence, and that's evident on film. And they've held some teams to minimal points this year, especially in the first half of games. Even some of their previous games, first couple games, they've done a nice job. So we're gonna have to play well.
All right, Coach, what are the overall offensive keys for North Carolina Central to be successful?
Number one, just like it is every week, we got to do a better job of taking care of the football. We've had 4 turnovers in the last 2 games, and that's not who we are. So we got to do better there. And then we want to continue to play great situational football, win first down, third down, and score touchdowns in the red zone. And then we want to win in the trenches, establish the running game, and be able to win up front. We feel like that's where games are still won and lost, and so we gotta continue to play well up front, and which I think we will.
All right, Coach, thank you so much for your time. Good luck.
Thank you, Jonathan.
That's offensive coordinator Matt Leone. Before him, you heard defensive coordinator Courtney Coard, and at the top of the program, head coach Trei Oliver. All right, so let's take a look to see what's going on around the MEAC this weekend. Of course, with the Eagles playing on Thursday night, they will have the rest of the weekend off as they get ready to face South Carolina State next week. So a little bit of an extra time of preparation to face the Bulldogs down in Orangeburg. But before that, there's only one league game this weekend. It's Delaware State at Norfolk State. Again, the Spartans coming off of that dramatic homecoming win. They'll be on the road at Dover to take on the Hornets. 1:30 in the afternoon, Virginia University of Lynchburg at South Carolina State at 1:30. 4 o'clock, it is Harvard at Howard as the Bison face yet another Ivy League opponent. Take a look at the weather forecast. There is a chance for showers tomorrow evening about 7 p.m. when this game will be kicking off. 7:30 is the kickoff time. As forecast for showers around then, but after that it should clear out. Looking to be about the high 60s. I'll be generous. I'll say high 60s, anywhere between 65 and 70 degrees. And of course dipping as the evening goes on. So you might want to bring a jacket. Of course, with tomorrow being the first night of the fair, might not be too great of attendance at the state fairgrounds, but after you get done watching the Eagles on Thursday, you have the weekend to go get your fill of fair food and have fun and taking in what the great state of North Carolina has to offer. All right, Eagle fans, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. I'm Jonathan Duran. As always, go Eagles, and we'll see you at the stadium.